birthday, or you get to homeroom like I was in high school and someone had baked something. And so there were so many days that I actually pushed through and there was cake. I seriously could not believe it worked. And I started doing it in college. I was actually commuting an entire hour away in college one year. And every day I got up, I ran my water and said, I hope there's cake today. And there's way less cake in college than there is in high school. But I'll tell you, I homeschool, and even one day a week, taking my son to school, I have to tell myself that there might be cake. Now, it's ridiculous to think there's going to be cake in my life now because I work for myself, I work at home, I'm not around anyone that there would be cake. But I've turned it into something new, which was so fitting for today. I tell myself that there might be fire. I tell myself that there might be someone who is going to email me. Rev.Q emails all times of night, which I love because most of you know, so do I. I'm up. You don't know if you message me at 6 a.m. am I getting up or if I've been up. Don't ask me if I went to sleep last night. Y'all all know the answer to that. I've been up since Friday. Thank you. But those messages give me fire. They keep me going. The opportunity to collaborate. I wake up to an invitation, to an opportunity, and I tell myself that there could be fire. And see, I'm normally describing it in my brain as an opportunity to come alive, like Howard Thurman says, where there's that fire, that passion, not the flames like we see here, but the fire that burns inside of us. And then I get up and I start my day off, and sometimes I have to make the fire. I run a bath to start with because fortunately my husband is a stay-at-home dad and he puts up with me waking up at 11 o'clock because you all know I stay up and work. And I light a candle, and so I have a little bath fire. And I might walk through the neighborhood, and in the autumn breeze, I feel the smell of a bonfire. And there's neighbors that I don't know having a fire pit in their backyard. Or I go to a meeting and someone who's Unitarian Universalist says, can we light a chalice? And of course, I say yes. Me and Rev.Q light a chalice at every meeting, and it's just the two of us because that fire means something to us. I'm talking about that bold, that renewing fire. Now, sometimes you wake up on September 9th and Cardi B dropped a new album. I'm just saying. Sometimes you wake up to a fire song. Sometimes you might wake up to a fire sermon, hopefully. That's what I can do for you today. But that fire that I'm talking about is a little different than maybe how we think about fire in a general sense. And I do want to say that there's a trigger warning coming. I want to say that I'm going to talk about sexual assault. And so what many of you don't know is why I stopped eating in high school. I was assaulted by a friend, someone I trusted, and it took away that opportunity for me to have a first time. And it stuck with me so much that I suppressed it. I forgot that it happened for like years, but I stopped eating. And so I went and controlled the only thing around me that I could control, which was my body. I stopped eating because it made me feel like I had control over myself. I had control over my environment, right? Now, when I was in seminary, you all might remember that we had a very famous professor. I don't know if any of you are still on from the school I went to, named Dr. Shiley Smith, and she came up from Emory, and she was all but dissertation when she got to our school to take this job. And she had whittled down all of the belongings that she had just to take this job and move from a house in Georgia to a condo in DC. And you all might remember that first semester, her house, the condo pipe at the top level bust and trickled down and caused the fire. And so she dealt with a fire and water, and she lost almost everything. Now, fortunately, her daughter, Trinity, had been staying up late and watching her fire, working on her second laptop, and the only thing Trinity grabbed was her laptop before they got to safety. And so Professor Shavi was able to go back down to Georgia with nothing else with her, barely any clothes, defend her dissertation and pass, hallelujah. And I remember when she came back 2 weekends later, she was sitting on the floor with us and she was reading a book called Stony, the Road We Trod. It's an anthology about the struggles